This video is brought to you by True Tales of Buried Treasure, the largest collection of old treasure magazines in the West. On our website, you can search for individual treasure stories by region, or buy our original magazines themselves. To pay us a visit, please click on the link in the description. Enjoy. Mining engineers estimate that the San Pedro mountain area, directly east of Golden, New Mexico, contains $800 million in unmined placer gold deposits. These deposits range up to 100 feet thick and cover a 16-square-mile area. Historical records indicate that the mother lode, the primary source of this gold, was only lightly mined before it mysteriously became lost. For years, the high cost of mining and the fixed price of gold kept this vast placer zone largely untouched. Another significant obstacle was the lack of water in the region. However, with gold prices skyrocketing to over $200 per ounce, the San Pedro mountain area in Santa Fe County has seen a surge of interest from prospectors. These modern-day fortune seekers are not stopping at placer mining. They are also hunting for the long-lost mother lode. Many previously dormant mining spots have become active again, with tents springing up and new mineral claim stakes appearing across the landscape. The elusive mother lode is often referred to as the Lost Cathedral Stope Mine because the cave where early Spanish miners discovered gold was said to resemble a grand cathedral. The San Pedro mountain region is virtually encircled by dry placer beds rich in gold. A large copper mining operation on the mountain's south face, about a mile from the historic town of San Pedro, also yields some gold. This area, once a bustling mining camp, produced some exceptionally large gold nuggets during the early rush. One Indian famously traded an 11-pound, 9-ounce gold nugget for a blind pony, some whiskey, and a crownless hat, indifferent to its monetary value. Countless other impressive nuggets made their way into the pokes of frontier prospectors. The slopes east of Golden contain rich veins of gold, copper, and silver, while gold-bearing gravels, some up to 100 feet deep, have accumulated in washes to the north, west, and south of the mountain. Historically, most placer mining occurred in these areas. An 1885 mining report noted that some gulches were particularly rich, though it was possible to pan for gold anywhere in the vicinity and find attractive colors. Lazarus Gulch, east of San Pedro Mountain and visible from today's Goldfield Consolidated Mines Company, was especially productive. Since 1973, this once quiet area has transformed into a hive of activity. Fresh diggings dot the landscape, giving it the appearance of a prairie dog town. The renewed interest in the Lost Cathedral Stope Mine owes much to Charles F. Williams, who operated the San Pedro copper mine before it changed ownership. Williams spent over a decade researching the mystery of the lost lode, providing much of what we know about it today. In July 1952, Williams published his findings in New Mexico magazine. His article began, "Little is known about that early day period which dates from the discovery by Spanish prospectors of the San Pedro lode around 1832 until the first mineral claims were recorded under United States mining laws in 1888. Mineral production during this period must have been limited to the oxidized outcroppings of the lode." Williams speculated that Spanish miners, after discovering the rich gold placers, followed the gold-bearing gravels in the gulches to their source. At the mother lode, gold ore was likely mined by Native Americans using Spanish techniques. The ore was then packed in leather sacks, zurronas, to the nearest water source, where it was crushed and panned to extract the gold. In 1951, a California mining engineer visited the San Pedro copper mine, seeking more information about the lost lode. He spoke with the company's field analysts, hoping to unlock the secrets of the Lost Cathedral Stope Mine. While the lode remains elusive, the enduring mystery continues to draw prospectors to San Pedro Mountain, where fortunes may still lie hidden beneath its rugged terrain. The Californian had first heard of the Lost Cathedral Stope Mine from an old prospector in San Francisco. Intrigued, he spent months in Santa Fe County searching for the elusive site. During his efforts, he shared the story of the lost gold ledge with Charles F. Williams, who had spent years researching the region's mining history. The tale began in the 1930s when the San Francisco prospector acquired an old Spanish map. The map, obtained through questionable means, detailed early mines in the San Pedro mountain area. One location was marked as the Cathedral Stope, an underground chamber noted for its rich gold deposits. Interestingly, Williams later confirmed that this name did not appear on any other known maps of the area. The map's legend described the mine as containing gold ore of exceptional richness. With this seemingly authentic map in hand, the San Francisco prospector teamed up with an old mining partner, a veteran of the goldfield Nevada boom, who had extensive experience in high grading. In 1937, the two set out for the San Pedro mountain area, following the map's directions. It wasn't long before they located a well-hidden tunnel entrance. The prospectors, cautious and methodical from years of experience, began exploring the tunnel. They discovered it was long, winding, and treacherous, with numerous collapses that required them to crawl on hands and knees. Their persistence eventually led them to a vast stope, a cavern so large that the beam of their 5-cell flashlight couldn't illuminate the opposite wall. The old prospector reasoned that this chamber was likely a natural cavity rather than an excavated one, as there was no evidence of a dump at the entrance. This absence explained why the mine had remained so elusive. Once sealed, the area would quickly revert to a natural appearance. Inside the stope, the prospectors found evidence supporting the map's authenticity. They discovered a large iron mortar, used by early miners to crush ore and extract gold. The cavern walls contained thin ribbons of gold, while the marble-like floor revealed more gold in finely divided form. There were also clear signs of earlier mining activity: large gouges in the walls where veins had been pursued, remnants of shoring, and even the ruins of burro stables. In one area, they found a pool of water they later referred to as the spring. Williams, familiar with geological formations, explained that such springs often resulted from surface seepage through fractured rock. Despite their incredible discovery, the California prospector and his Nevada partner did not reopen the mine. For reasons unknown, they left New Mexico, perhaps intending to return later. Years passed, and the lost mine remained untouched. In 1951, a California mining engineer arrived at San Pedro Mountain, inspired by the story of the Cathedral Stope Mine. He searched tirelessly, but after weeks of frustration, he realized he needed help. Partnering with a local mining engineer familiar with the area, they developed a plan to locate the lost lode. After securing permits from landowners, they conducted an exhaustive search, exploring old prospect holes, tunnels, shafts, fissures, and surface cracks. Their work took them into dangerous conditions, through thick, moldering dust, bat-infested caverns, and perilous fractures in the earth. Despite their efforts, they found no trace of the lost mine. Determined to leave no stone unturned, the partners decided on a final strategy: locating the original San Francisco prospector. By this time, the old man was frail and senile, but they managed to strike a deal. They covered all his travel expenses, including room and board, and brought him back to the Golden area, hoping he could guide them to the Cathedral Stope Mine. The elderly prospector had been promised a percentage of the ancient diggings if mining operations began successfully. Once in the field, he oriented himself at an old house, using it as a landmark, and began the journey toward what he believed was the entrance to the Lost Cathedral Stope Mine. Though frail, he seemed to recall every step he and his partner had taken years ago. As he struggled across the rugged slopes, he mumbled constantly about the past, drawing on every ounce of strength to navigate the difficult terrain. Charles Williams, observing from his nearby mine site, wrote, "As the ground became more challenging, his steps faltered, and he needed frequent rests. Eventually, the old man could go no further. Exhausted, he pointed toward the area where he believed the Cathedral Stope's entrance lay. However, it became clear that the landscape had changed significantly since his last visit. Recent cave-ins and the removal of markers that once marked the trail had confused him. Despite this, his description of the stope and the way to it never wavered. Recognizing that the old prospector could no longer assist, his companions arranged for his return home by bus. They then focused their search on the area he had indicated, following every lead they could uncover. Local prospectors offered suggestions, and the partners thoroughly investigated these tips, but to no avail. At one point, they employed a crew to remove a mass of caved-in material at a suspected tunnel entrance and used a bulldozer to clear a large section of the mountain slope. Despite their efforts, nothing significant was found. Determined, they expanded their search, tracking down old-time miners for interviews and combing through dusty records in Santa Fe. They examined every document related to the region's early mining days. Though these efforts provided no breakthrough, they only deepened the Californians' resolve. Charles Williams, careful to authenticate the story, provided additional evidence supporting the mine's existence. He wrote, "Perhaps the strongest piece of evidence is a photostatic copy of an authenticated government map. This map, dating back to territorial times, 1847-1912, shows a mine adit several hundred feet long, with a plotted bearing matching the strike of a prominent fracture zone. This fracture zone aligns with the area the old prospector pointed out. Given errors in old surveys, it's possible the original portal is now covered by one of the nearby mine dumps." Williams speculated further. It's likely the adit follows, at least partially, a watercourse within the fracture zone. Access may exist from mine workings higher up or further inside, though thorough examination of the known workings has yet to reveal it. One of the last surviving miners from the early days recalls seeing a partially caved tunnel in the vicinity, which matches the description. When the determined Californian felt he had reached the end of his options, he turned his attention to the Nevada miner, who had originally partnered with the San Francisco prospector. Armed with the man's address, he boarded a bus to Nevada. Once he found the Nevada miner, a tense conversation ensued. The Californian learned that the man had returned to the Cathedral Stope Mine alone after the initial discovery. There, he had mined enough gold to purchase 2 airplanes, later selling the gold in Mexico to bypass the restrictive U.S. gold laws of the time. Despite the Californian's pleas, the Nevada miner refused to assist or guide a new search. He argued that he had no reason to share the mine's location when he could return himself and extract more gold at any time. However, there may have been another reason for his reluctance. It was rumored he had run afoul of the law during his previous ventures. At the time, the FBI was closely monitoring New Mexico's gold fields, making the risks of returning too great for him to take. It was later revealed that the San Francisco prospector was furious with his Nevada partner, claiming he had been double-crossed. According to him, the partner had secretly returned to the Lost Cathedral Stope Mine and extracted gold without his knowledge. The prospector swore it was an outright betrayal. He also shared that during their initial discovery, they had approached the landowner to lease a specific area, but were refused. This suggests their find may have been in Lazarus Gulch, a hotspot for discoveries, or at least in the southeastern quadrant of San Pedro Mountain. The San Francisco prospector disclosed more details. He claimed that when they first located the mine, they took samples that confirmed the lode's exceptional richness, just as the original Spanish map had indicated. As the Californian neared the end of his fruitless search for the mine, he came across additional information. He heard a rumor about an old-timer who had once been in the San Pedro Mountain area. The story went that while exploring, the man's horse accidentally fell into an old mine shaft. Miraculously, both the man and the horse escaped injury. After recovering from the shock, the man examined the area and noticed the shaft had been deliberately concealed with poles, brush, stones, and other materials. Curious, the old-timer cleared the entrance and ventured inside. The tunnel led him to a chamber containing Spanish artifacts, convincing him he had stumbled upon an ancient Spanish mine. Upon further exploration, he discovered high-grade ore within the stope. Understanding the significance of his find, he carefully resealed the opening and set out to inquire about the ownership of the land. However, the man was already elderly, and before he could secure the property, he fell ill. Realizing his time was short, he confided the discovery to a trusted friend. This account is believed to be the last known observation of the Lost Cathedral Stope Mine. Today, the owners of the San Pedro copper mine have no plans to search for the lost lode. Their focus remains on the large-scale copper operations on the mountain's slopes. Despite this, Interest in the legendary mine has recently surged among locals in Golden. Many believe that the Lost Cathedral Stope still holds a fortune in gold, waiting to be uncovered. One thing is certain: if the mine were found, it would undoubtedly yield a strike of extraordinary value. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to read the original article or purchase the magazine from which it was taken, please check out our website, truetalesofburiedtreasure.com.